What's up, beautiful people? You already know this is your boy Levar, aka Ramzie, the editor-in-chief of Snub Magazine. And today on the sit down, I have two special guests. And some of you may already know who they are. Some of you may not know who they are. So what I'm gonna do is, what we do on the sit down is we let our guests introduce themselves, and whoever wants to go first, I'm gonna let you go.
Go Ryan. Go Ryan.
Are you gonna put it on me? All right, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, hi everybody. Thanks Snub for Ramsey for having us today. My name is Ryan Kilgore. I'm an international saxophonist from Atlanta, Georgia. Went to shout outs to my school, Southwest, so Chapel Hill Middle School, Southwest Cab, Clarkland University. Very proud members of those institutions. Been playing the saxophone since age 10. By the time I was 14, I was playing my first professional, performance all the way up until now, where I'm sitting here now in London, still doing it, chasing that dream and the aspect of being a great musician. And so I'm humble beginnings, but definitely always humbled through the process, and consider myself to be not only a great musician but a great person. So
Definitely.
Well, thank you, Ryan, and
you're welcome, Brooke.
thank you, Ramsey, for being
You-
on here. My name is Brooke Alford, and the first and foremost thing about me, I am a woman who is just actively choosing to evolve and wanting to just unfold and discover more of me and who I am so that I know what I have and maybe what I didn't even knew I had to offer the world and offer those that I love. And to me, everything else comes, second because it doesn't matter, what you have going on if you're not constantly self-developing. So I'm grateful to be here. I am a musical artist as well, international violinist, known as the artist of the violin. I've had the opportunity for the last 18 years to be in the music business and work with some of the best artists and musicians, entertainers, and Ryan happened to be one of them. And just grateful to know him in many capacities. He is the love of my life, and I will say I'm grateful to also share with him our son that we are, actively excited about and raising together. His name is Legend Maurice Kilgore. And yeah, it's just life has taken a new turn for me. And as an artist, of course, your life affects your music and it affects your movement. So I am, just reacclimating myself with who I am and the music that I produce and make and share with the world through my violin, through my voice, through my being. And just glad to have a wonderful partner who believes in my vision too, and we believe in each other. And here we are. He's, yes, in London touring. I'm currently in Atlanta. I have a show tonight myself in Atlanta. So we stay on the go, but gotta love this life. So thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you guys shared a lot already. We already might start started.
you know, just get a little
Uh,
insight.
you're right. No, but one, you both when I was, looking into you all and seeing different things about you, of course. Ryan, when you brought up, you went to Clark. Actually, I'm a Howard boy. So
Okay.
the HBCU right there, and then with Brooke,
Yep.
actually, in order for me to be in band, I had to play the violin and viola.
Mm.
And
Okay.
I loved it for a little while, but then like I didn't have some family members that supported me. I ain't gonna lie, and it kind of
Yeah.
rerouted me because it's a different art form, if you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to have an ear for music, in order for you to understand it, how you interpret it. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is my type of people already right here.
Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that it's already. a beautiful story that you guys have shared. So I kind of want to take it back to the beginning for the both of you, and whoever wants to start. We can start off with Brooke, since Brooke put you, Ryan, on the spot for to introduce
On the spot, right,
it.
right.
Um, Brooke,
Look, get
let's
back.
start off where it all began for you. When was the moment, with your artistry as far as music goes? If you want to start off with how the violin came to effect for you, or who is there anybody in your life that impacted or nurtured that, or was there any artist that you were watching that was like, you know what, I'm looking at them and this is the route I want to go, but I want to put my own twist to it. What was the beginning point for you?
Um, I believe that was just literally in my cells from when I was born. My mother's a professional musician. My dad, he was a creative writer. He's actually transitioned. He transitioned in 2020, but left a rich legacy
Mm,
that I feel I'm fulfilling day to day. But I feel like it's been within me. My parents recognized my ability as far as love of performing at the age of 3.
mm.
And they were like, this child needs to be on somebody's stage.
Right.
And so I just love being in front of people. I love performing and just the attention that it brought from an early age. So I started with dance and singing. I started singing when I was about, well, as long as I could talk. And so my mom, she's also a singer and she was a choral director for a long time.
Mm.
So I was around it. I was singing, I was dancing, and my parents said, let's put her in dance. And so I started dancing and then I started piano because my mom was a pianist. I started around the age 4 or 5 and I started performing on piano at 5. I was doing pageants, I was doing talent shows, and my parents were just really, kind of letting me lead on that. They were like, okay, she really loves this. And
Right.
then violin came into play in elementary school because I was like, I love piano, I love dancing, but I need a little bit more.
Right.
And so around the same time I started violin, I was playing tennis. So my parents were allowing me to explore, but what really stuck with me was the violin and then athletics because I was still dancing. And then I started running. And so I think the core of it all was about competing with myself because I liked competition and just seeing how much I could really pull out of myself. So it just happened that I would be, running competitively, playing and writing music competitively. I entered all kind of contests and competitions and would actually win. And I just knew at the age of 12, I was like, I like how this feels. I like playing music. I like playing the violin. I want to do this forever. And
Right.
that's when I kind of just knew this is what I want to do. I got my first gig, according to my uncle Conrad, at the age of like 13, when we were in the Bahamas and we were on vacation. I was like, Uncle Conrad, I didn't go anywhere without my violin. I said, Uncle Conrad, I need to practice. He's like, why don't you practice at the pool? And I was like, at the pool, it's hot. Okay, though, I'll do it. And I started practicing, and people started walking by and giving me money. And he was like, open up your face.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I play for money. That's weird. And
Right.
so they just started patronizing me. And then he stopped and walked around. He was like, all right,
So
thank you
let's go.
for the
Yep,
hat. He
yep,
was like,
yep,
I was
yep.
your first manager. I was like, oh my God. So that will forever be funny. But I wasn't even thinking about money,
Right.
really. I just love playing. And so I just would practice publicly and people would patronize, every now and again. I wasn't looking for it. Restaurants would be like, you want to just come and practice at our restaurant
Right.
while our guests are there and we don't have to pay you? And I was like, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And so that was like between the ages of 12 and 14. I was doing stuff like that. And then I knew I wanted to go to college and study. So I was on the track of that, and I started studying with Atlanta Symphony violinist Jay Christie. My first violin teacher was Heather Ritchie, who exposed me to Irish fiddling,
Mm.
exposed me
Mhm.
to country, bluegrass, classical, and even jazz. And I didn't know that's what I was being exposed to, because I was just like, oh, I'm just learning the violin. And so little did I know, it was really instilled in me. My dad, my mom I was listening to Barry White and Love Unlimited Orchestra. I was listening to James Brown, all, just all in my upbringing, not realizing it was a part of me that was, festering inside to come out.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to college, I was still writing music. I majored in music, and I was playing the violin, and I didn't know how I was going to have a living in, playing. I just knew I wanted one. And I was like, it's probably not going to just be orchestrally. It's probably going to be other things, because I just love music. And by the time I graduated from college at Florida State University College of Music, um, believe it or not, at the time, I was like, okay, I'm tired. I'm burned out. I need to take a break. I've been playing music forever. Time to take a break. And so by the time I said that, God kind of laughed,
Hmm.
because I was like, I'm going to work corporate. Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Work corporate. So I'm going to do that, whatever that means. I tried it for all of 3 months. My employer even said, "Brooke, go make music, because all you do is write music while you're
Talk
sitting
about
at my
music.
desk,
Yeah. Yeah.
while you're on your breaks, you're over here writing songs." And I was like, "Am I? Oh my God!" Like, just go be a musician and artist. And so that's what I did. I would get calls for like prestigious camps to come and work there, and clinics and all kinds of stuff, when I thought I was taking a break, right? But
Right.
I would get all the calls. I got called to play in Philadelphia for an album release party. I was like, I don't even know what that means. And it was just all the things that were happening naturally, organically, led me to my first album, Expressions, in 2007. And then from there, it was just again unfolding. That's when I met Ryan in 2007 on stage
Mm-hmm.
with his saxophone, and he was just looking so hot. I was like, wow, I get to play with him. Okay, I'm in the right place. And so, just all my mentors from, when I first got into the business, Antoine Knight, Tyrone Taylor, Reggie Hines. I mean, these folks were really helping craft me. Tyrone Jackson. Um, wow, just so many. Ojita Penn, that really helped me to get to the point that I'm at now. And yeah, I'm just grateful 18 years later,
Right.
still in this business, and all the folks I've gotten to meet, work with, record with, play with, laugh with, whatever. I'm grateful for it, in the midst of life happening at the same time. Getting married, that not working out, but coming to the path of Ryan, who was there the whole time. We were dating everybody else but each other.
Right.
But it's been a beautiful unfolding.
Right.
I would say these last years of life, and now we have our son as a tangible fruit of what we've been mustering for all this time and for so long. But all that to say, I'm grateful. I'm thankful for all those that have helped along the way. My family, my mother, my father when he was here, sister, brother, everybody who's played a part. I just give thanks, because you can't do it alone.
Definitely.
All those who
I think
supported
sometimes
all my music.
something you hit on though, because that's something that's happened with myself in the industry. Because I started when I was in music for a little bit, like I said, and then I veered away from that and started being more into entertainment. Because then I went into modeling, then I was a
Mm,
PA, then I went to BT, then I was all these different places.
mm.
Um, but you said something about the burnout, and a lot
Hmm.
of people don't know that's real. That is
Yes.
It
a
is.
real situation, and it definitely is something that in this industry, there's moments where you're like, you know what? Like, I can walk away from it. I don't have to do, like, I can go try to be we try to be regular.
Try to be regular.
Right.
Man,
We really be like, I don't have to do this
and
no
that's a real
more.
thing. That's a real
Yeah.
thing.
We
I say to
walk
people
away from it.
sometimes, yeah, I'd be like, kind of like realize I'm different, and
Yeah.
they kind of regular. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I don't mean no disrespect, but
Like,
you kind of regular.
and we walk out
So
like we
I
just
get it.
got it too. We walk out like
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just like that's fine. I ain't got to do this no more. Da, da,
yeah,
da.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then all of a sudden, like you said, like God all of a sudden puts things, or people come up to
Yes.
like for me, it was more of, oh, we haven't seen you in a while, or PRs that I was working with and other actives would hit me up like, okay, so I got this artist that needs to da da da, da. And I'm like, I don't do that no more. And they're like, oh, okay, so when are you starting your stuff? Like, because we worked with you before. What's going on? Da da da. Da. And I'm like, I don't do that anymore. They're like, what are you doing? And then I say like, I don't want to say like a basic job, but then I say what I'm doing. They're like, absolutely not. When are you getting back into doing
Yeah,
things? You know what I'm
exactly. It's
saying?
Yeah.
for real. It's like that's
Yeah,
cute.
it's like,
But
no, I'm serious.
anyway,
They're like, nice joke. That's a good joke. Good try. Okay, so when do you da da da? No, no. So I definitely get that that whole scenario of the burnout because it's real and a lot of people don't really understand that happens. It's gonna be all right. Something's going you're gonna know that you're supposed to be in what place at what time because there's gonna be certain signs that happen. So I definitely appreciate that part. So Ryan, we go to you on your journey of how did this all start for you,
Yeah.
and the route that you went.
Yeah, it's funny that you even use that as an example. So my example is that I really, growing up, I was, of course, my parents also were musicians. My dad's a piano player. Mom sang in the choir. They had you in the Sunshine Band. Like all the church stuff, the choir rehearsals, the community choirs. Your uncle's playing drums. Everybody, and you go to family reunion. Everybody got an instrument in their hand. I mean,
Right.
like it was just always there was no way I could get away from music not being a part of my life. And um, but I did have another love. One of my first love was playing football, playing sports. And so I would beg my mom every year, Mom, please, I'm good, because you got your neighborhood leagues,
Hmm.
and then you got your school leagues, and then you got your rec league. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so guys around the way, they know who's talented, who's fast, who got good hands. That's your practice. That's your off season, before you go try to go make a team, type of thing. And so of course, when you're in the neighborhood, your mom can't see you play. She in the house doing her thing, whatever. But I'm like, yo, Mom, I need you to give me a shot to try this football thing out. And my first game, I fractured my ankle, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at the first time.
Of course, of course. You're always laughing at my pain. She always laughing at my pain. And so the crazy part was at the beginning, my mom said, all right, I'm gonna give you this one shot. And if you get hurt, that's it. You back in the van, right? So I'm like, okay. So I tried my best not to even go home that night. I felt like I was Wolverine prior to that moment. I was Wolverine. He get cut up and his body just healed back. When you're young, you think,
You're just
it's
gonna
like,
be out there.
yeah, I'm gonna be out there, right? So it got so bad that somebody gave me crutches. I didn't go to the hospital at the time, but somebody gave me some of their crutches for me just to take the pressure off. And I walk into the house and I'm thinking I'm coming in as later than usual, so maybe they'll be asleep and I can just sneak upstairs and just nothing. They sitting right there on the couch waiting on me, like, what are you doing in crutches? And what happened? See, I told you, I knew you was gonna get hurt. So now I fractured my ankle. I got a half cast on, and I'm coming in on Monday morning. And the first place I got to go is the band room to drop off my instrument. Every single person in the band room was like, "Oh my God, you're okay? What happened? You was in a car accident? What did you fall down the steps? Just anything outside of football, right?" And I was like, "Oh no, I played this weekend." They was like, "You ain't no football player, man. You a sax player." So I was like, okay, all right. And that was kind of that moment where I was like, okay, let me really focus in on playing the saxophone. And so even from musical influences, different people hitting you up, and I had other sax players. I'm like the fourth generation sax player in my family, so seeing them play saxophone, but also introducing me to people like Kirk Whalum and Kim Waters and Gerald Albright and Everett Harp and all these black men especially that played the saxophone, and it really helped me develop, a sound very earlier on. So I was already kind of professionally ready, by age 14, 13, 14, because I had those influences and get started in a wedding band. And therefore I played the lady down the aisle and I'm like, oh my God, they just paid me $100. Now this is like the next week after I just got hurt. So now I'm sitting on the stool with a half cast on, but I just made $100.
Right. You
Now I
got
was
that
like,
money
oh,
again.
okay. So even injured, I was able to make money. See, in football, you can't play. You pretty much your season's over with, or you got to take time off, so you're irrelevant. But in this situation, they still let me play. Oh man, okay. So now I'm like, all right. So I figured out at that point, this is what I want to do in life. I love to play the saxophone, and if somebody willing to pay me to play the saxophone, oh my God, you know what I mean. And so it just gave me more motivation to want to get better, to want to learn more songs. The gospel, between R&B, between hip hop, all these different genres, funk, jazz, all these different conglomerates of things that kind of pushed me in that way. Um, what also changed the trajectory of how I view music also was being in the marching band.
Mm.
So I ended up still winning because now I get to watch the game and I get to play my instrument. And so that was the marriage that I was willing to, combine. So that's why Southwest DeKalb is such a big thing for me. One of the premier programs in the country. At least 30, 35 years, of just straight superior groups and musicians and things. This really needs to be studied. What's in the water? What kind of chicken something is going on in that area, because it's so many amazing people that have come out of DeKalb County, and out of Atlanta in general, a lot of amazing artists. So, same thing with the job thing. I did security. I did sweeper trucks. I did roofing. I went to work with my granddaddy. I mean, all uncles, all kinds of stuff. And every job, I was so miserable, frostbitten, all kinds of stuff. I'm just like, man, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, y'all. You want me to teach? You want me to do all this stuff? I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And I went to church one night, and it was like a revival or some type of thing. And the prophet that was there, he was basically talking about faith, and he was challenging people's faith in his message. And he was basically asking the question, who has faith? Of course, everybody's raising their hand. Everybody says, okay, I'm gonna keep asking y'all. Okay, and he get a little bit further in the message. Says, so who said they had faith again? Okay, people keep raising their hand, and then even more people start raising their hand because they're getting a little, this and the other. And he says, now who actually uses their faith? Mm-hmm. And it was like, made you think,
yeah,
am I using my faith, or is it just stored up in the garage, or is in the closet hiding somewhere? And so he said, so now I want you to speak something into existence. And at the time, what my desire was to be a professional musician, to be able to travel the world, to be able to see the world through the eyes of music and through the lens of being a musician and artist. And he said, if you're really gangster, put a date on it. So I said, June 1st, 2006, I'm going to leave my job to pursue music. By February of 2007, I was in Japan with Stevie Wonder. Not even a year later. And so it was the first time I could say to myself where I was very intentional about using my faith, and there is no plan B.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do anything else. I have a skill set to learn, so I can learn how to fly a plane and become a pilot. I could become a firefighter. I think I'd be great at anything that I try to do. But what my purpose is, it's been very clear. So no matter how I've tried to hide in rooms, I come in and sit down, try to be inconspicuous, and I'm excuse me. Hey. You're like,
gotta have a hat on and some shades.
Yeah. It's like, no. Hey. You think it's dark where people can't see you, and then they're like, hey, you guys don't know who just walked in the building. And you're like, oh, that's not what I was here for. I was here to support, whatever. But that's a blessing, and it's a testament to the result of the steps you took, when it comes to that faith. So I've been learning to embrace, that element of it. So that's generally my story. Of course, so many other things have happened. Getting to Clark, we filmed the movie Drumline. I was a sophomore. I was actually the first freshman drum major in the school's history. to become a drum major. And then my sophomore year, we filmed, basically 20th Century Fox landed on our campus. And we had no idea that that movie was going to be as monumental and culturally, giving to the culture of marching band, to HBCUs, to all of that. So that was amazing, but it also opened my eyes up to other aspects of the industry. Like, oh, you know what? I don't have to just be a performer at the wedding. I can do movies too, or I can be on a soundtrack for this. And that led me to meeting Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and I mean, like all kinds of little different things that popped off from those relationships and behind the scenes. And when you're filming for 60 days with the same crew, you start developing relationships and you realize how powerful relationships are. And it's like, oh, okay, that was just a phone call. Yeah, because soon as I thought about, they say they need a sax player for this song with Faith Evans, I thought about you because on the drum line set, that's all I was doing was playing the saxophone. Hurry up and wait game. Mm-hmm. I'm just playing songs, learning songs. And I was always that type of musician as well. So, those things have been great, just to get me to a space where now I can say I've been to 6 continents. I have one more state that I have not performed in. That's Alaska and Antarctica. Those are the 2 places where I feel like.
If you get to Antarctica, let me know about that one, because I'm going to have to watch that. I ain't no way he out there like that.
Yeah. It'll probably be me and the penguins.
Right.
It will be you and the penguins.
Right.
The penguins,
That's it. Because this is not coming. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
But no, it's been a blessing. And but yes, in 2007, I met the love of my life, Brooke, on stage. And it was just amazing. We both were 2 young musicians trying to figure it out, been blessed in certain ways, but still, still learning, still evolving and still growing. And I think, God's timing is always perfect. Our lives were always doing like this, and we were able to maintain a 15-year, friendship, of just being true friends to each other from a distance, up close. And then, it just got to a space where it was like, you know what? I need to be somebody that completely understands what I got going on, but they can also share in what the movement is when it comes to our artistry. Also I always wanted to be a supportive partner. And so being able to be in a space where I know how to support, I know how to serve, I know how to be there for her. So sometimes we have shows where, hey, I got to be the role manager, or I got to, I got to steam her dress, for her to get ready because whoever the person wardrobe ain't here, whatever, so I enjoyed that and, love her to life, from the stage, as well as being a mom to legend. So it's been a beautiful experience getting here. So now I'm here in the UK with Mr. Wonder. We'll be finishing up tomorrow, actually, in London at Hyde Park. So just, preparing for that, that's been, a whirlwind. That's actually been, celebrates 18 years this year that I've been in the camp. And, DVDs and stuff like that. I think it's been like 14 years, maybe 13, something like that, where we did a DVD called Live at Last. And we actually performed it here in London at the O2. So it's kind of a, full circle moment to be able to come back to spots you've been to before. You're like, oh man, I really got a cool little history, of places and things that I've done. So, it's been amazing.
Definitely. Something you tapped on, well, it's funny that y'all brought up sports, because y'all were telling y'all routes, and sports somehow gets creative messed up, because I was in sport. I ran track.
Okay.
I was a 4x1 relay, and I did hurdle.
Okay.
Getting ready for nationals. I was clearing it. I was like, my dad was like, this boy, okay, we doing it. Now, I did football. The guy hit me once, and I was like, that's it, homeboy. Like, it's not the wind out of me. And I'm a little dude, so that wasn't even cool right there when he did that. So I ran track, but the final heat was me, and it was at the hurdle. And I was 2 hurdles away from the finish. So I was tearing it up. And all of a sudden, somehow my cleat. Now I don't know. I never know how to this day this happened. I think it was a setup by God, but we're gonna have that conversation when we see each other. But I flipped over the hurdle, and the hurdle went on top of me, and it was just, hurdles come back up. They slap.
Yeah.
So I'm at a state championship getting slapped by hurdles in the middle, in front of everybody that knew like this boy was gonna win. Like we already knew that. Didn't happen. That was my end story. That was it. Messed up my leg. I was out for a while.
Hmm.
Man.
And that's what pushed the creative side again. Because when you sit down with yourself, you're like, okay, like here comes these other things that start happening. And there was moments where I couldn't sleep because there was so much on my brain. I was like, I got to
Yep.
get it out. I got to, like, I don't know what I'm doing. My parents like, you only have 3 hours of sleep, boy. Like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. And I'm just crafting different things or writing out what certain things I want to happen. And this is at a younger age. And
Yeah.
people be like, that's not normal. That's not normal, you know? But then it works with you later on in life and you never know. And it touches on what you also said too, is you never know who's watching you.
Mhm.
And one thing that a artist told me one time was like, you need to know everybody that's in that room, including that janitor,
Yep.
because you never know who's going to bring your name up in any space. And it's happened so many times where I would do the same thing. I would go to certain award shows, sit in the back of the awards, these big award shows, and just be chilling. And all of a sudden, someone's like, this person asked for you to come up here real quick. And I'm like, I'm not even dressed right now. Like I'm
Yep.
here to watch. They're like, oh no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. They said you need to get right here. And I'm like, okay. So I start walking out. And like if you don't want to be in front of people, we have this thing where we don't like to sometimes be in front. We just there to spectate. Like I just want to enjoy. I
Yeah.
want to be
Yeah,
a
I just want
regular
to do what I
person.
do.
Yeah.
Spectate. So you start
They
getting,
won't
you get up
let
to the
you.
front. They're
Yep.
like, what you doing back there? Da da da. You supposed to be da da. And you're like, I did not call you to tell you to do it. Like, I'm not using that.
Right.
Oh no, you're fine. Like, this is where you're supposed to be. And when I constantly started to see that, I got kind of like scolded at one point where it's like, just let it happen. Like, stop fighting it. And it hits us sometimes where it's like, well, I know I don't, but I don't want the spotlight all the time. I know what I'm gifted with, but at the same time, it's like I do want to have my moments where I'm like far away, but then you have those people, like I said, they just be like, "Come here real quick. He needs to speak to you right quick." Or certain projects, you like, "How did you get my number? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?"
I had a mentor. I had a mentor, Stacy Jackson. She said to me one time, she says, Ryan, don't frustrate God's grace on your life.
Hmm.
And so sometimes it's just grace.
Yeah,
It's not even that we know someone, is that they know us. Right.
Hmm.
And they can see the greatness in you. They see the anointing on your life. And they're like, yo, I need to be close to that. He don't need to be back in the back. I need you to come up closer to the furnace, to the fire, because you're gonna help, with all these other different elements of things. And then sometimes, like you're saying, being in the room, um, treating everybody like they're a celebrity, loving on every single person. I recently was on a tour and all I did was ask the young lady at the desk. We're at a casino in Vegas, and I asked the lady at the desk, how was her day? She said, oh my God, you're the first person. And this was like the nighttime. And she's like, you're the first person that has asked me that. And she was like, and then she asked me, how was my day? I said, oh, my day has been long. Thank you for asking. I was like, I actually just flew in. I have a 7-week old, and I'm fine. I just got here, came straight to rehearsal, and we just now get here to check in. And so, like, I'm tired. So she says, give me a second. I'll be right back. She comes back, she flies in the car. She says, well, first of all, Mr. Kilgore, congratulations on your new son. And here is $100 voucher for, you know what I mean? For all these different restaurants in here, this and the other. And I actually went ahead and upgraded your room. I get upstairs and it's the penthouse with a pool table and two rooms. And so I'm like, this came from me treating someone
right.
that you don't know what kind of pool she got, how long she been there for Uncle such and such. You don't know. And so to me, that was like one of those reminders. But I could have been like, oh no, I don't need this. Da, 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 da. I ain't even the oldest person in the group. I'm one of the youngest peoples in that particular camp.
Yeah.
But I'm the one with the penthouse. So don't frustrate God's grace. Let it happen. Cause
Definitely.
now you got a nice view. And I'm FaceTime my baby, like, baby, you ain't gonna believe
Right.
you ain't gonna believe what just happened. Like, oh my God, that was from being nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Right.
I appreciate that. You know?
Definitely. And I think that shows also that, the human side of us, that like we are in, so we can be in those big rooms, but at the same time we can also still have ourselves to be like, you know what, I'm just asking a basic word, like, do you need anything? Are you okay? And like you said, serving sometimes. Sometimes being
Sure.
in that room and serving an individual, there's been times like I've had where I've sat in I've been on certain sets or photo shoots and I would see something on that artist and I'm very like particular when it comes down to like when it gets someone's getting dressed and I see like if I see anything that's off right there, I'm like, please get that. Please, like somebody go. I don't know who needs to get it, or I'll start looking around and I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, and then when they fix it, the person's like, who caught that? And then I'm like, no. And I like, but then it's like, okay. And again, that reroutes you in different places because they're like, well, that detail, that was by you fixing that, notice that you cared at them. That showed another part of you, you know?
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's definitely a huge thing. One thing I did, there's three things I want to tap on with you all. Being that we're in a era that's dominated by the digital world, and we're seeing different tools come about. We're seeing different instruments coming about in the digital world. How do you keep yourself relevant and I don't even use the word relevant, but how do you keep yourself together to make sure that your artistry is still shown and not overclouded too much by the digital world?
Mm. Brooke?
Um, Honestly, I paused for a moment to because I felt something in my spirit speak. But it's like if you've ever had natural juice, like cold pressed juice, and how all the nutrients rises to the top
Mm,
and then the water kind of settles at the bottom. I just feel like people are going to gravitate to what nourishes them. And so it's going to rise up, period. And no matter what's going on, the digital, hey, everybody, look at me,
yeah,
error. Hey, everybody, I'm an expert. Look at me, buy me, get my masterclass, and it's
like
like, I'm
masterclass be
paying
killing it.
you
Right.
for your masterclass to make you rich on something I'm hoping will happen because you told me it would through your masterclass, but you got paid, so it's just this, we're paying into what they're telling us, works and X, Y, Z, but they're getting paid regardless because we believe them.
Right.
And that was all it took, right?
Right.
So it's that discernment. The spirit of discernment is so vital. It's not even an option at this point if you want to truly, if your soul, truly wants to thrive and survive. It's about the discernment and saying, you know what? I don't need that.
Yeah.
I am enough. I have enough. God gave me everything that I need, the tools and the resources and the people. I just have to use my faith, my wisdom to just allow things to come forth. So I feel like we're just in that space of people gravitate to what's real,
Yeah.
even if there's a lot of fakeness and it may look cute and shiny and glitzy and glimmery, but at the end of the day, people want what's real.
Hmm.
And that's why I have clients who go all the way back to '07 who still call me in 2025 because they were like, Brooke, when I first heard you, and I was green as the green neon light on the traffic light. You know what I'm saying? It was obvious. It's like this chick is new. And, like new. And so like they say, what behind the ears?
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Right. Right.
I knew nothing about the business, but what I did know was about character and integrity. That's what I did know. And I did know how to carry myself in a way that I felt was representing myself correctly, even in my earliest years. And so people remembered that. They remembered, my kindness or however I touched them through my music and through my person.
Yeah.
And it stuck with them so much that they called me in 2025 to
Yeah.
come and play at their event. So it's like people who have followed my career are those types of people. They're people who have watched me grow, who are real time people. It's not just an Instagram, okay, follow, and that's it. No, we connected.
Yeah.
And that's what lasts. And a lot of the followers, that people have, they'll never interact with them. They'll never probably even hire them for an event, and they just know them through a screen.
Hmm.
So if we were to cut off Instagram, what would happen?
That part. Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? If we were
Yeah.
to shut it all down, because Ryan and I were in the MySpace era.
Listen, I was telling
So
someone that I was telling someone I was like, you ain't bad if you've never changed the background in MySpace. Leave me alone.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
we were
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
MySpace
Creating
and
your home
LimeWire,
portal,
Facebook.
you
all
know,
that.
yeah, yeah, all this stuff, man. You
Facebook
know,
was for college students at
Right,
the time.
exactly.
So
Yes.
yeah,
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 I just feel like the realness will always rise.
Yeah,
Period.
yeah. I
definitely.
feel that for me, it's like I feel like, you know, the where we are in our careers and age, you know, generation that we're part of, we caught the last before the technology boom, you know, right? So this was, you had to personally invite someone to your show. You had to, you know, get your friends, you know, let them know ahead of time. Hey, what y'all doing Friday? Hey, I'm gonna be playing at the such and such, such. Once y'all come through, it's free to get in. You know what I'm saying? They got food, they got drinks, blah, 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 blah. You know, you had to be your own kind of marketing, you know, person or promoter, you know, to let people know what you had. But what you did was you created experiences. So people remember half of what they see and what they hear, but they always remember how you make them feel.
Right.
And so I knew it with the saxophone. I could walk in any room in the world playing the saxophone, and they're not gonna stop me. They're gonna pull out their phone and start filming me at this point. You know what I mean? Like so. If you wanted to just pull up at the train station and start playing, and got the natural acoustics of the train station, or you in the church, they got a high ceiling. Wherever you decide to go, you know what I mean? You can get someone's attention if you're really trying to get their attention. So to me, I still do a lot with personal relationships. You know, my numbers on something may not be high because I promoted it, but the word was out. That word of mouth, like I said, people knowing you. So yeah, you know, people can follow me because I'm, you know, I'm posting or I'm saying whatever, or I'm sharing this particular part. But at the same time, most of the people that came was because, like she said, they've known me for 20 years. So I ain't
Mhm.
seen Ryan perform and blah 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 blah. Or I saw him on this DVD, and I wanna catch him live at this particular thing. And I'm also a very personable person. So I've watched a blind man, Stevie Wonder, be personable and take pictures with every single person after the show. And it'd be like 200 people at a meet and greet, you know, and he's literally taking a picture with every single person on top of sound check, on top of whatever he did the morning before sound check, did the show, and now he's doing it after. So when I see that type of effort from people that allegedly have disabilities, you like, man, he's 30 years my senior. You know what I mean? He's still kicking it. He's 75, still performing. Patty's still 81. You know, like all that stuff. You like, oh man, who am I to act like, you know? And so to me, your reputation, how you make people feel, being approachable, you know, all those things kind of, because what if they do turn the switch off?
Mhm.
Then what will you still have to get people's attention to say, hey, I'm more than that. So now I feel like too, there's seasons in the digital world for yourself.
Mhm.
I'm a very private person, so I'm not gonna every day be like, look at what I ate for breakfast, look what I ate for dinner, look, hey, so, you know, so to me that's like overkill, you know, when you start getting into like all that kind of stuff. But
Unless
um,
you are promoting that
Yeah,
and that's
if you're a
your
chef,
business,
yeah,
you know
right.
what I'm
but
saying?
within what I'm
Yeah.
doing, then it's like, I mean, and I'm not saying it's not to say that it can't be monetized to put into your situation, but I just, for my personality, I like to be present, you know, and I like to have moments where I'm present with whatever it is that I'm doing. And because being in your phone all the time will take you away, you'll miss something, you know. And so that actually is some of the storyline of my second album, Just Walk, where God was saying, I don't want you to run right now. I want you to walk by faith, walk with faith, you know, and that way you can see the scenery. So when you know the difference when you're running, you're not really paying attention to the scenery.
Right.
That's not sightseeing time. You just running more so to see how far I can go. But when you're walking, you get a chance to see that little stump over there. Oh, there's a butterfly. Oh man, you heard the wind. I just stood outside of the hotel just now and literally was voice recording the street noise, people walking by, the conversations, the wind, the little birds in the background, dogs barking, you know, because it's like, oh man, like my ears, I can hear all that stuff going on at the same time. This sounds like a scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, so to me, you know, you got to have a little balance of both. You know, I understand in this industry and the way people see things at this point. But if it was to get shut off, I would not be worried at all. But it is a viable point to get your story across and for people to get to know you faster, you know, so you can develop those fans or those, experiences with other people in other places. So again, it's a pro and a con, a good and a bad, a yin and a yang, with it. But I think just because we've been in the industry for so long, that kind of keeps us relevant as well. Things that we've been able to accomplish as international artists, it speaks for themselves. I rarely have to tell anybody who I am at this point in my life.
Definitely.
And that's a blessing to be in that space.
I definitely understand that, Rob. So that kind of leads me to this question, and then we're gonna wrap it. People are watching us constantly. Like we've been talking about that throughout this conversation. And whether or not we know it, we are role models. People are tuned in. I had a couple of times where I didn't know certain people were watching, or if I've won certain awards because people were watching me and I did not know this, or some student or somebody was like, "Yo, have you seen this? Like he's done this, da 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 da." And it's like, how did you get my name again? How did you get my name? And I play around with like on my Instagram, I do some things because of the publication, but we're role models. People, like I said, people are watching us. What do you say to that individual that is watching you and excuse me, they want to get to where you are? And they don't understand. We've talked about the burnout. There is some moments where, to be honest, I've had moments where I was completely broke. I did not know why I was going to this event, but I was dressed. I could pull some,
And the tank,
That's why you're going.
right.
the tank on Edo.
Right. I could pull
What?
an outfit together in 2.5 seconds, and I walk in that room. You won't know that my account says negative whatever number.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
And
pulled
my
it
tank on
together.
E.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But
I hope
what
I
do
can
you
make it
say
back
to
to the
those?
crib.
Right. But you get
Yeah.
excited when you see the hors d'oeuvres. You're like, thank you, God. You know, we like that's like real conversations that we have
Yeah.
sometimes. But what do you say to those individuals that's like, I want to get to that, that level where Brooke is or where Ryan's at? Like, what's your advice to them to on this journey? And I'll go with you, Brooke,
Mm,
or Ryan, whichever one. Brooke,
okay.
Okay.
So I guess I would say that's an interesting question because I have several experiences in walking up to people and saying, "Hey, I want to be just like you," right?
mm,
And one of those people said to me, his response to me was, it was actually Najee. His response was to me was, "Why would you want to commit social suicide?"
mm,
He's like, you if you be like me, then you become a duplicate. I know who you are. You're Ryan Kilgore. That's fine. Be Ryan Kilgore. I had another person that says, or one of my mantras is every person has a passion, every passion has a purpose, and every purpose has a person. So the traction on your shoes don't fit my mountain. You're gonna slip every time. If you try to do what I'm doing, you're gonna slip every time. You're gonna fall every time. You're gonna fail every time. But if you're intentional about being the best version of you, maybe where you go, someone's gonna say, "Who is that?"
right.
You know what I mean? No matter whether you're in your element of playing, whether you're in your element of just talking and fostering or building a relationship with someone, your light, your anointing, your aura is going to shine. It's going to be, and it's okay if you're not a floodlight and you're a candle in the darkness. Because when a storm happened and there ain't no electricity, that candle becomes the most valuable piece of light in the whole house. Go get the candles,
Right.
and so now it's you know what I'm saying?
Look, I just had
It's
a whole
like,
flashback of that moment.
you know what I'm saying? So to me, when you find your purpose, your purpose is literally to use your passion to
Right.
touch a person. You know what I mean? And so to me, when people find that, then you start to carve out your original carbon copy of you. And so that's what I would say is, mostly focusing in on self-development of believing in yourself first. It doesn't matter if I tell Brooke she's beautiful. If she doesn't feel it and don't believe it, it just sounds like one word's going in and out the other, and that's fine. Like I know she knows I feel that way, but she got to see it for herself, and then you have the capacity to believe in others. So that's the other thing, is not always thinking you have to be in the spotlight. Sometimes you just being in the room is important. and network and go to places. So the reason why we went to those places when our negative counts and the gas ain't, all this stuff was because we understood the importance of
Right.
being in the room regardless.
Right.
And so right today I might be. So I've seen people, go from they were just a promoter to now they're the commissioner. And so now I also get to support them when they get their awards, and I get to see how they've grown in their careers. And then when they see me, they're like, "Oh, that's my boy. I remember he played in my garage." You know what I mean? So now when they got a bigger budget, bigger situation, bigger things, then you start to, a job will find the job, basically. So it's amazing when you use your gift. It has a GPS system already built in it. All you got to do is use your gift. There's no driver's license required. It will take you exactly where you're supposed to be. And that would be what my advice would be.
Definitely.
I would say always continue to work on you, because it can't get better if you're not better. The money, I got to make sure people see me, all of those things. It's important, but the most important thing is you, and who are you presenting? Who is that person that you're presenting? Because if it's not you, how can God bless you? Right. As Tabitha Brown says, like, who are you trying to be? Like Ryan was saying, if you're a duplicate, you can never really be blessed, because then God's like, okay, if she's copying him, then do I bless him? I can't bless her.
Right.
So it is about being who you were made to be, your own individual, unique fingerprint here. And also understanding that it's really bigger than you. Right. Like, a lot of artists get caught up in what they're doing, not their being. It's like, oh, I got to go do this. I got to do that. It's all about me. I'm the diva and da 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 da. But it's like, but what about the people? It's like, aren't you doing this to be heard by others outside of yourself? And what Ryan has taught me, just being with him as a friend, as my lover, as my business partner, is about servitude. I encourage artists to serve, because when you serve, you're outside of yourself. It requires you to think beyond you. And so, yes, being yourself, serving, not being so high up on your horse to help somebody, and say, okay, yeah, let me help you. Let me come support you, at your show. Let me cheer you on. Like Ryan was saying, let me be in the audience and watch you get your award. They ain't give me no award, so I'm not coming. And beyond that, that lets you, again, that takes self-development. That's the first thing, the self-development, because you can't get to the point of that maturation without having worked on yourself. And that's not just the physical self, the mental self, the spiritual self, the books that you read, the information you acquire. All of that is important in the path of being an artist, a whole artist. And your music is naturally going to flow through this better filter, than one that's full of toxins and just toxic mentally, all of that. And then you're trying to get things out and you can't, you're frustrated and the money's not flowing.
Unless you're a blues artist. If you're a blues artist, then sing about it, write about it.
Sing about it.
Keep that out
there. That's what I would encourage, because I remember I was doing a school presentation, and these were elementary school children, and a fourth grader, she asked me, she was like, what makes you different than the next violinist? Y'all play the same instrument. And I said, wow, that's a great question. Because if I were in a different space in my life and in my artistry, I could have easily been offended.
Yeah.
Or most artists are like, excuse me?
Right.
You haven't heard my music?
Right.
What you
Right.
mean what makes me different? You could go there, but I said, you know what? That's a very great question, young lady. What makes me different is that I am me. And nobody else can be Brooke, even
Nope.
if they tried.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, that is true, and it made her even kind of think about it because it's not about a comparison of, well, the way he played that scale, I'm going to play it shorter and it's beyond that. It's like you can't even duplicate, even when you try to duplicate, you
Mm-hmm.
can't because there's going to be just this slight difference
Mm-hmm.
of them. Like when people try to impersonate Michael Jackson, they try to impersonate Beyonce, but we can tell it's not Beyonce.
Yeah.
And we can tell that it's not Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
even though we're like, it's close.
Yeah.
They almost got it, but it's never, he's spot on,
Yeah.
exactly like Michael.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So it's the same way. It's like you just doing you is already going to set you apart.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to copy everybody. That's why it sounds the same. And we're like, what? Why isn't anybody, just doing what they do? And that can be frustrating as an artist too. It's like, but you sound just like, you're trying to sound just like that and do all the same licks and all that. So yes, just be exactly who you were made to be.
Definitely. That's funny that you said the little last part about the Michael Jackson Beyonce thing, because I noticed, like every time the national anthems is sung, that three
Mhm.
part of what Whitney Houston does is always what someone's trying to do at the end. And you think,
Right, because we're always going to refer back to the
right, the person
original.
who did it.
We're always going to do it. So why are you going to copy
Right.
when
And
we're going to go right back to that original
you
person?
get
Just do
so
what you
nervous. You
do.
just like when you
You
see it happen, you like, oh,
do.
here come these three notes that we know. We know they can't hit. We know it's coming.
Right.
But yeah, so that's good. Thank you so much for that and for the words that you gave for it. Our final the final thought for it is, what do you want to say to the audience? Any projects, anything that you have coming up, any more greatness that's in the future that's already in the works that you could talk about? If not, cool, we'll be watching anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Anything coming up in the future as we close out this part?
Well, we're in a space now. Of course, just having a little one in our lives, so we're 4 months into that. So we've kind of been in mommy daddy mode. Both of us experienced our first Mother's Day and Father's Day this year, so just kind of getting a handle on that. But there's things that are brewing. Um, with Ryan and Brooke, and where we're also have formed a duo R&B, where it's Ryan and Brooke, sax and violin, and so that's something that we're cooking up in the kitchen, getting situated. I think both of us are, definitely getting ready for some festivals and some other things that are coming, from a performance standpoint. But there are projects that we've been working on. I think the time period of 2020, kind of sat a lot of people down to be able to really analyze, like, where am I in my career and where am I going? Where do I want to be? So I definitely was able to birth some things out of that. That in probably later this year to 2026 will be like kind of where I can launch a lot of that stuff. But I am excited about a new facility that I've been working on since the last 2 or 3 years. It's called the Band Room Studios, and this is basically a multi-use, multi-purpose space. From rehearsals to podcasts to um, after school lessons to whatever you can think of from a creative standpoint, think tanks, sound baths, just all these different type of services. I wanted to put myself in a position where I could service the creative and the artists. I think a lot of times, especially as musicians, we don't protect our ears as much as we should, and knowing how to reset our chakra from hearing so much music, hearing people talk, got the ear pods always in, you constantly learning music. You just did a whole tour with nothing but Stevie Wonder music. I need a break. I need a sound bath. I need to reset myself when I come back. You've been on the plane, the bus, the car, so things like that have become more and more important to me as I've grown in the industry and I watched my elders kind of bodies kind of start to do certain things because we didn't go to the chiropractor. We didn't, we're not stretching or, just
Mhm.
things that we think we Superman and we can be because there's those phenomenons, right? But we can be give ourselves a lot much longevity if that becomes just as important than the scale that I played or because I could play all these changes. Um, but I always was the person that was like, I don't speak on it until I have something to give to the conversation, And so now that we have that facility, now I can start to promote and create that atmosphere that I want for myself, but I also want to help create other creatives and say, hey, you need to be working on your brand. Let's help, let's look at thinking outside of the box of what you're doing with your artistry. Don't just put out an album just because it sounds good. What's the plan?
Right.
How do we support you? How do we put you in a position for that? But also connecting with other musicians and creators around when they're in town, when they're in Atlanta. Um, so I'm excited about that because also from the after school aspect, it serves as a literally a band room to the community that we're in Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and it allows us to service the schools that don't have music departments using our staff of teaching artists that we're developing. And these are all people like me and Brooke and myself, where we're educators too, and we can educate. And so now we're in a position where even though we're touring or this and the other, we have other staff and other musicians and creatives that can come in and kind of give certain classes and those things. So I'm very excited about launching that coming up this next school year and kind of building on those type of projects. So
Definitely.
Yeah, for me, it's recalibrating for me. I am in mommy mode. I love being a mother. I love, having a partner that's extremely supportive and has been there from before the day one existed. And just all the wonderful things that are unfolding in my new life now. I think this society that we live in underestimates women and motherhood and parenthood. It's not celebrated enough. It's something very serious and transformative and needs to be handled with care. Women should get, or parents really should get the whole year off, just to bond with their child. And because it's not a, okay, 6 weeks, time to go. It's
Right.
not a cutoff point. It's actually when things just get started.
mm-hmm.
Because the development of the
Mhm.
child changes from day to day. And why would you want to miss that? You'll never get it back again. And, going back to work in June officially, we're really, I'd say the end of May is when I officially came back into working. Our baby was born in March. So it's one of those things. Yes, I would love to have a little bit more time, but yes, we do have responsibilities in life and, finance that we have to take care of. And, the work didn't stop. It's just I had to say no a lot of times. And so now it's like getting back into the double dutch. It's like you stepped out for a second. It's like, we
Right.
ready to go back? All right, I guess so. I get back into it, but I am just recalibrating at this point in my life, restructuring my approaches to business, music, um, just life in general, and building with Ryan, recreating, refining, readjusting, all the things right now. Of course, we're going to be working on stuff, but it's just a matter of just giving myself grace and time to allow myself to be a mother, allow myself to feed my child, and really be present for Legend. So just taking it one step at a time, one day at a time in this, and not always feeling that hustle and bustle rush that I got to do it now. But actually, for the first time ever in life, taking a moment. So that's what I'm doing at this time. And again, I'm performing. I'm being selective. I'm taking that as it comes. But my priority right now is my son, my family, and the new creations that we'll create through music and life.
Definitely, definitely. Well, Ryan and Brooke, thank you so much for this conversation today that we had. It was very informative, but it was a good time as well. Good people. I generally sometimes, we stay on conversations and we're like, Lord, please, like get this through. Um, but no, I am very appreciative of the conversation we had today. And just not just the conversation, but the discernment of how the conversation was flowing. I'm very appreciative of that. So, thank you again for taking a moment to sit down with Snub and having this conversation. It was phenomenal. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We
Thank
appreciate it. Appreciate the invite and definitely taking time, out of you all schedule to spend time with us too as well. And
Shout out to
now,
our PR, Luanza,
yes,
for this
yes.
connection. Thank you, Luanza, of the
Thank
Stellar
you, Lawanza.
PR group. Yes. So
Definitely, definitely. But yeah, anytime you guys have anything else going on or whatever, if you're, in the States or whatever you're promoting or pushing out, let us know. We definitely want to be involved.